Whether it's the regular season or the off-season, we have you covered as we give you the best Tennessee Titans and NFL news and insight that a fan could ask for. You're watching the Titan Upload Network. The Power Hour's on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. We are on the eve of training camp, getting ready to open for most NFL teams. The Tennessee Titans will start tomorrow by reporting in and then having their first practice initiate on Wednesday. So it is going to be business as usual for us. We are going to keep pumping out content. Rossi's going to have some more shows coming out. Upload's going to have more shows coming out. You got content coming out the yin yang, guys. So I promise you, regardless of whatever happens, you are going to be taken care of here at the Titan Upload Network. And we got so much to talk about. I mean, let's just get in with the whole concept of what we have discussion-wise lined up for you tonight, because we have a great show. Episode 4 of The Lost Rings will be talked about tonight. Tyler will take the reins on this one, but we got to get the man in. So joining us, of course, and always, our good friend of Titans Time Podcast and host of the BS Report, Tyler Staggs. Tyler, happy Monday to you. Good seeing you. We are there, dude.
We are there. Happy Monday to you as well. Good to be back here. Nowhere else I'd rather be on a Monday night than sitting here talking Titans with you. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And yeah, I mean, we got a great show for tonight.
That we do. And I mean, before we jump into it, a lot of news coming up, a lot of things being discussed. If you're definitely excited about the new stadium being built next door across from old Nissan Stadium, new camera feed comes up. So, I mean, you can check that out and just watch the progress as that's going to go throughout the next few years. So pretty excited about that, man. I mean, especially if you want to keep tabs on that and you're out of state, or even if you're just not in the Nashville area, to just drive by and see what's going on. Really great way for the Titans to just show fans what's going to be happening in the next few years. Is that little parking lot that held tailgates is going to be the new home of the 60,000 seat new state-of-the-art stadium for the Tennessee Titans and for nameless events for years to come.
Yeah, that I mean, like you said, it's awesome job there by the Titans doing that, giving fans, basically that inside look. Because, I mean, unless you're in Nashville and driving by there every day, like, you're not going to see what progress is being made. So now you can tune in and see it. And it's just Titans fans are already excited about the new stadium. Now you get to watch it come together.
And believe me, if you're trying to check that out, Tennessee Titans website, they'll have the cam link right there. We'll try and get that into the show a little later so you guys can check it out. But they're going to keep tabs for you to make sure you know what's going on with the new stadium getting built. Pretty excited, by the way. But Tyler, we got a huge topic to talk about, and there was kind of a fly in the ointment situation last week with a discussion with The Athletic bringing up a piece that apparently the Titans might have had some offers with Derrick Henry. So I think that's the best place to start with the show. So what do you say we cut through the jib and let's get to work?
Let's do it.
Getting into it at the top of the hour. I'm Michael Bishop of the Power Hour, joined by Tyler Staggs, and let's get into our top segment with the kickoff now.
And here's the kick.
So as I said, last week, this basically was a big piece from The Athletic. It dropped saying that Rand Carthon did a little bit of shopping. Seems there was some interest, especially with Derrick Henry potentially being moved at the trade deadline last year. Ravens very much were on that radar as well, Tyler. So take it from there. What do we know so far about this piece?
Yeah, so, with this piece, it come out and it basically talked about how, like you said, Rand Carthon had a deal worked up to where Henry would have been a Raven last year before the deadline for a conditional 4th round pick that could have turned into a 3rd round pick depending on Henry's production. And basically higher ups within the Titans organization said, no, not going to do it. And, now all Titans fans, I've seen the battles going back and forth of they made the right move. They should have traded him. And I mean, let's be honest, Mike, as I'm sitting here, especially knowing that hindsight's 2020. Let me say that. Basically, the Ravens got to wait around and get Henry for no draft capital. Just sign him right out. They didn't have to give the Titans anything because with the way that Ravens team was playing last year, let's call a spade a spade. The Titans would have ended up with a 3rd round pick for him if they did that trade. Henry would have hit the production that he would have had to have hit. And, the Titans basically just let Henry walk and could have, they didn't have a 3rd round pick this year. That could have come in handy.
So that being said, you're basically on the side of Henry should have been traded. So just to get that extra draft pick.
I think, yeah, I'm going to say the Titans, if they had the deal worked up, they could have had at worst, a 4th round pick, another 4th round pick, potentially a 3rd round pick, a round that they didn't have a pick in, for Derrick Henry. I think, especially with the way things ended up playing out on the season anyway, where Mike Vrabel ends up getting fired, you bring in a new coach, a new system that Henry doesn't fit in as well. Again, like I mentioned earlier, hindsight's 2020, but last year already kind of felt like throughout the year it was going to be Henry's last year with the team anyway. You traded Byard,
right.
Got stuff back for him. Why not trade Henry?
Well, here's the thing. You bringing up in capital, especially with a situation like that, and that's understandable. But they were 2-4. I mean, were we really just ready to give up on the season right then and there? I mean, was that really worth the capital, especially knowing the Titans still had an opportunity to potentially win some games down the road, knowing that we didn't know what we know, if that makes sense.
Well, that does make sense. And just to throw it out there, which I know different position that we're talking about here, but just think back on this. I remember a Titans team that started 2-4. They made a change, and all of a sudden, that changed the outlook of the season. Not saying that this Titans team, if they were 2-4 and they would have traded Henry there, that they would have gotten hot and gone on a win streak, anything like that. I'm not saying that would have happened. But change may not have been a bad thing.
I'm not disposed by the change aspect of things. My whole thing is, it just seems like you're giving up on a season after just a little stretch that they just had just a lot of uncertainty. Think of it this way. You've got a rookie quarterback that's stepping in for an injured Ryan Tannehill. What are you going to give him in support? I mean, you can't rely on Tajay Spears at that point because he was still an unknown at that point. He had some good games, but are you really willing to just give all that burden to Tajay Spears?
Why not? I mean, like you said, he's an unknown at that point.
Hang on.
But he's an unknown.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. He's an unknown, but also you're basically going to be putting the same workload on him that Derrick Henry had. And knowing, especially what you understand about his leg situation, How do you know that wasn't going to blow it out? I mean, that's a fair point to make.
It is a fair point, and obviously it's all, hypothetical at this point. But again, you look at it, Titans knew that they weren't going to have a third round pick going into this year. You start off the season 2-4. You already know going into this year that it is probably Henry's last year with the team, unless they make a crazy run. Like, I feel like that writing was on the wall. And I want to say this. I'm a big Henry fan. I am. So I don't want people thinking that I'm not a Henry fan, was just, so, he's got to go. No, but at that point, it makes more sense to get draft capital back for him. I mean, they traded Kevin Byard.
Okay, hang on.
He
Not the draft. Let me hit on the draft capital real quick. You're talking draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say third round pick.
Yep.
What are the success rate odds for a third round pick in the NFL?
The success rate odds, I believe, are around 15%.
Okay. So you're drafting a 15% player. Now, let's say in a fourth round, you get a fourth round pick instead. So I'm trying to even out the playing field here to build up my argument. So what are the odds for a fourth round player in the NFL success level?
I'm wanting to say the fourth round goes to 8%.
All right. So basically, third round's 16%, and a fourth round's 8%, and a projectile of the success rate.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to give away a generational talent on a crap shot. And I mean a very slim crap shot at that.
Oh.
Is that worth it?
All right, let me throw this back at you then.
Okay.
What is the success rate of a third round pick if you don't have a third round pick? 0, right? So
I agree with that.
So you're telling me I bumped my chances up 15%. I know that he's a generational talent, yes, but I have a aging running back that more than likely is wanting to go to.
Can we stop calling? Oh, let's stop. Can we stop calling 29 aging? I understand in running back terms. The guy's got tread on his tires. Well, people are acting like that the dude's not going to be able to, even in his situation in Baltimore, he's not going to be able to get in there and make some kind of difference. That's not the case. This.
Well, when I say aging, I'm not calling him old. I mean, we're all aging.
Let's say seasoned veteran. Let's just go with that.
Well, you have a seasoned veteran running back who, more than likely after this season, given the way last season went and how this season. All right, look, back up a little bit since we're talking past tense about last season. How the season before that went and how that current season was playing out. He's more than likely wanting to go to a contender. I mean, he wants a ring. I can't fault him in that.
Let me make this point real quick, Tyler, because this is important to make. As much as he probably would have wanted to go to a contender, there's a problem with that. Because people forgetting that he would have had to waive a good chunk of his salary to do it. Because people forget, Adam Schefter reported on his Twitter that right on October 30th, that any chance of a trade with Derrick Henry and any team at that point at the deadline, he would have had to forego a good piece of his salary. And he had $5.5 million left on his deal with the Titans. So in a running back market where basically you're going to have to basically take a pay cut to go to that contender, I mean, is it worth it? Especially in a market that you're declining in?
You're asking from Henry's aspect if it's worth it. And at that point, and I'm going to reference this because, Derrick Henry went on Bussing with the Boys and kind of talked about how close the trade was. And I think at that point, Henry would have been willing to waive that salary because he's made the majority of his money.
I disagree.
And he even talked about how, had that trade gone through, it was going to be scary, and because of the pairing that it would have been.
Maybe
he knew
you're
the
not,
team that it was with.
the thing is, you're not going to leave money on the table, especially in your position group, and literally you're going to be losing money going to a contending team, and you're not going to be fully guaranteed anything outside of what is possible going to be a contract that's going to be a good 2-year signing deal. Because basically you're a rental, and then if they like what they have, then they'll just kick on a few extra years on a new deal. So I guess in that sense, it makes sense. But are you really willing to leave a good chunk of money on the table, especially on a season where it's not even over? Let's remember, they're 2-4 at that point. Was it really worth just breaking everything down at that point, especially with Mike Vrabel still at the helm? I just see there was no possible way that Vrabel was going to even agree to this. And I still think he had very much a lot of pull in that building.
Yeah, it's obvious he had a lot of pull. The trade didn't get done.
Exactly.
The trade fell out. So, but, again, looking at it from Henry's aspect, it's, yeah, okay, I've made the majority of my money. I get what you're saying. In a running back market where the pay's declining, like we said, Henry is a seasoned vet. They're basically would be bringing him in as a rental and then potentially giving him an extension if they liked what they had with him there. But from his aspect, and as a competitor, okay, that money, yes, it would be nice to have, but do I want to continue losing, or do I want to go to a team where we can be winning and I have a better shot at getting to my ultimate goal, which is a Super Bowl that I want to win? And then from the Titans aspect, because we talked about the draft capital, I know we talked about the success rate, and credit to Mike Herndon on putting this out there on X. Let's look at Rand's use of 3rd and 4th round picks. He's used 3rd and 4th round picks to move up and draft the guy that Titans fans hope is the franchise quarterback in Will Levis. He drafted Tajay Spears. He was able to acquire L'Jarius Sneed, and he drafted Cedric Gray. So now, obviously, Will Levis still up in the air if he's going to be the franchise quarterback. There's hope, though. Titans fans feel positive about what they see from him. Tajay Spears, we saw a lot of good things from him last year. I think it's fair to assume that we expect more of that. L'Jarius Sneed, we know the type of player, the type of corner that he has been. He really showed it last year. So can he continue that in a Titans uniform? And then Cedric Gray, one of the top linebackers in this draft, in last year's draft. And again, that to me is the biggest question mark because we haven't seen him on an NFL field yet. How does he pan out? Does he pan out? But you're talking about another pick that either could have been in the 3rd round of this past draft. It could have been used to move up and get another top talent in this draft, or it could have potentially been used to get another vet off of another team. A lot of potentials there, but
that's
things
a lot of
you have
what
to
ifs.
look at.
It's a lot of what ifs, though. We're here in the now. It didn't happen.
It didn't.
Because obviously the Titans felt that there was still a narrative to go out and win. You're still 2-4. You're still very much in the playoff race. It's not worth risking your vet or your rookie quarterback to go out there and have no weapons other than just Hopkins, man. You're trying to win and trying to make the dance. I feel that that's Mike Vrabel's go all and be all end decision. So why just give up on a 2-4 season?
Was it actually to keep Henry to win games, or was the primary reason keep Henry so you don't get backlash from fans?
You're trying to win games in this league. Why would you care about what fans think? If you're caring what fans think, that's
Because
a quick way
fans
to
fill
lose.
the stadium.
You're going to lose your job regardless. You have to make decisions based on what you think is best for the team, not by just what fans think. And I know people aren't going to like me saying this, but it's the truth. If I base any job that I do on people evaluating my performance and I understand what's best going forward, then I am going to go with what has gotten me to this position. You can't base it off other people's emotions. That's a quick way to basically just fire out of any kind of situation quickly. And in terms of picks, I'm just going to go the Rams version of that. And basically, you have to remember, Rand Carthon came from the Rams for a time. F them picks, man. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to get capital here. And what Rand Carthon's done, he's done that. The Titans did what they could in order to build themselves in a position in the draft to get the best player available. You may not even like the fact they could have had a lower pick if they got rid of Derrick Henry and things fell apart, but that's the way it is. I'm telling you right now, I'm happy with J.C. Latham. I think he's going to work out. I think that's the best position for the Titans to be in, but everything worked out for a reason. So why ask what if? What ifs? It's always what if this, what if that. Live in the now, in the present, because that's where the mindset should be. And the thing is, where we have people making progressive decisions about what this team's going to do in 2024, the biggest problem that with is you have to go with unknowns, because they're either going to be really good or they're going to be really bad. And the easiest decision for anybody to make is to say, they're bad. I'm just going to go off what I see, what I know, new team, new concept. They're bad. It's the end.
Now, one thing we can agree on at the end of this is I'm with you. Why? Yes, obviously we're looking back on this because training camp has not started up yet, and it was a big topic on X over the last several days.
Agreed.
But at this point, it doesn't really matter. Like you said, we're to the present time now. Everything happened the way that it happened for a reason. The trade didn't go through. If you want to live in the past, okay, go for it. And I want to throw this out there too, because I know it was another big argument between people. If you want to cheer for Derrick Henry, go for it. That doesn't make you any less of a Titans fan if you hope Derrick Henry has success. If you don't want to cheer for him, you don't want him to have a good season, okay, that's your preference too. Doesn't make you any less of a Titans fan.
It makes no difference to me what he does with the Ravens.
So, exactly. Like, he's on the Ravens now. If you'd like, look, there's players on other teams that I like. I want to see them do well. Does that mean that I want them to, if them and the Titans were to face off, I want the Titans to lose to them just because I like that player? No. And I think that's where a lot of people are at, is if the Ravens and Titans are playing, they're going to cheer for the Titans over Henry's success and a Ravens.
And we sold this narrative. We sold this narrative when the season was coming to an end. Consistently. We told people he's going to leave. Bank it. Stick it in your memory. It's coming. But I promise you, after everything's said and done, whatever he does with the rest of his career, wherever he does it, he's coming back here and getting his number retired. Mm-hmm. He's more than likely going to be a pretty shoo-in candidate for the Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's going to be a first-round ballot. That's still going to be determined, but he's working his way there. He's a Titan regardless. He can finish his career with the Ravens. And if he wins a Super Bowl there, who gives a damn? Good for him. That helped cement it. I can live with that. He's going to retire a Titan regardless. I don't care what's going on with the Ravens. That's his prerogative. That's his
Hmm.
business decision. If you don't want to root for him, that doesn't make you a bad fan. If you want to root for him, that doesn't make you a bad fan either, like Tyler said. Do what you feel is necessary. I have family members that are Ravens fans. I can live with that. I don't root for the team, but good for them. Take care of the boy. He's special to us. He means a lot. That's all I asked. Regardless of everything, though, is at the end of the day, the Titans made the best decision for them long term because number one, they felt they had an opportunity to win. They were 2-4. They didn't want to put Will Levis through the ringer without any other help besides DeAndre Hopkins. And here's the other thing. Out of the 50 sellingest jerseys in the NFL, Derrick Henry had the 38th most sold jerseys in 2023. No other Titans are on that list. So would it make much sense to let go of the guy that's actually carrying your franchise? And then Will Levis wasn't even on the list. Anthony Richardson was 44. I'm going to give you that into context. Think about that. Will Levis wasn't even on the list. Derrick Henry was the only Tennessee Titan on the top 50 selling jerseys list in 2023. So I can think from a fan's perspective, but I'm thinking of it from a financial perspective as well. This team right now is in the most uncharted area that they've ever been in. We can say that somebody's going to step up and be the voice and the face of the franchise, but it's going to come down to who the players come connected with at that point. And that's going to be the selling point. And that's what makes successful NFL franchises. You have to have a guy that people get excited about when he comes out and plays. Derrick Henry still had that quality, and now the Titans don't have that anymore. So that's why they hadn't made the right decision keeping him, even if it was for a short-term game. And yes, I know memories aren't going to be building blocks and are a poor substitution for Bryant trying to build a team. But I've already said this team is going to go through a transition maybe for the next year or two. There's no certainty. I mean, Tyler, I know you and I have agreed with this constantly. But there might be just a fluctuation of this team heading for a downward spiral. It's very much realistic. I'm not saying it can happen, but let's just be honest. Somebody's going to rise to the occasion.
Yep.
So, Tyler, that's fine. If you felt that if the Titans needed to move on from the situation, that's understandable. I respect your decision and your argument about that. I, however, on the other hand, I think of it from a financial standpoint. I think it from you still have to win in this league, regardless of whatever your situation is, because there's jobs on the line. And the Titan staff did the best they could with the best they had and in the best of circumstances. And that's just what it is. I mean, regardless, Derrick Henry was going to go one way or the other because I felt there's a competitor in him. He's going to get more money regardless. And I didn't think he was going to leave money sitting on the table, whatever was being said. I'm sorry, but if you have 1 year and you can make your full amount of paper, you're going to take that paper. I'm taking that paper. Even if I'm not happy with the situation, you're going to tough it out and just be like, okay, I just have to get through at least 4 months and we'll just see what happens from there. I don't want to take a pay cut to go somewhere else. And there's not even
good points.
they would have won a Super Bowl. There's never a guarantee. So regardless of everything, Derrick Henry's coming back here one day after it's all said and done, and they're going to retire 22. But here's another tough pill you're probably going to have to swallow. If the Ravens win a Super Bowl, they're going to claim him too. And that's just something we're going to have to deal with. Peyton Manning has the same thing with Indy and the Broncos. Seems like he goes back to the Broncos quite a bit. But I'm just saying, regardless of whatever happens, he's always going to be a Tennessee Titan. But if he does something with the Ravens, especially get that Lombardi trophy that's eluded him for so long, that might be a very awkward family reunion. But regardless, good luck in Baltimore. Good luck to the Ravens. I don't hate anybody. I don't have any ill wills towards any teams. I'm focused on this one. And there's a lot of good, interesting scenarios going forward that we can discuss as the season progresses. But hey, training camp's tomorrow, baby. We got football. Smile.
Yes.
There's real topics at hand. So we've got interesting things to talk about. But right now, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. And when we come back, episode 4 of the Lost Ring series continues as we delve in with a team that had quite an interesting take to take it to Super Bowl 37. Tyler's going to give us the story as we go there. Quick 30-second break. We'll be right back after this breather.
You're watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. Always great to be here with you guys. Great seeing you as well, Tyler. It's Monday. I love these days, man. It's like breathing in just new life. I feel like I'm just sitting in a yurt and I'm just calmly just building up anticipation and excitement and just breathing in just the atmosphere as football is right on our doorstep. Because tomorrow, training camp will begin officially for the Tennessee Titans, and Wednesday will be the first practice. So everybody is going to be getting news in.
It definitely, like you said, always great to be back here on a Monday and just knowing we've made it. It's right there. Training camp. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see all the content flowing out, ready to see these guys take the field. Like, we've been seeing, if you keep up, if you follow some of the players on Instagram and all that, you see them out there putting in the work with each other, but let's get them back in the building and see what they can do.
That's what we want, man. We're here to talk about games. We're here to live watch parties. We're here to break down games. That's what we're trying to get to. See, this is like our small reward for getting through the summer months. The dog days still a little bit ahead of us, but hey, we're here to get you through it as well. So that's what we're here to do at TUN, whether it be the Power Hour, whether it's Rossi, whether it's Upload. The work will get done, and we're going to get you entertained. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. Lou, we haven't seen you in a good while, and I'm glad to have you on the show, man. Good seeing you. So happy to see that you dropped in as well. Week 20 against the Ravens. We're just throwing extra games in. We're throwing some playoff games, I see. So, okay. So I guess wild card against Pittsburgh, then a divisional game against, maybe. If we're lower seed, then probably, yeah. Okay, that's making more sense. My bad, Lou. I'm overanalyzing things. That's just me. But you don't have to overanalyze this. If you love what you're seeing, make sure, if you love the show, help it grow. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and X at the Power 615, and of course at all the Titan Upload Network sites, wherever you find your streaming and wherever you view your platform services. All right, Tyler. Episode 4 of the Lost Ring series. This has been so much fun. I have enjoyed doing this with you. So you ready to get into it? I'm handing the ball off to you, and I'm just like Eddie George. I expect you to hit the middle.
Let's do it.
Jumping into it. Episode 4 of the Lost Ring series commences now. And after a dog year in 2001 with the Tennessee Titans, basically underachieved at a 7-9, and you saw the retirement of Bruce Matthews as well. A lot of questions for this team. Could they bounce back? Tyler, I give you the narrative for the 2002 Tennessee Titans.
So, yeah, the 2002 Tennessee Titans, like you said, coming off of a 7-9 season. I mean, what could this team do? Could they have a bounce back year, get back on their feet, get back to like how that 99 team was, really start putting things together? And let's be honest, the start of the year wasn't really that great. Now, while they did open up the 2002 season at home and ended up getting a win in that game, we can't look over the fact that this team lost a key defensive piece for most of the year when on just the second play of the game, Javon Curse breaks his foot. And, again, you're talking about a key piece to that defense, to that pass rush. That's not a good start to the season. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
No, in fact, this team really just came out of the gate and just looked horrible. I mean, out of 5 games, you're looking at a team that basically just went 1-4 throughout the process.
They did. Now, the one game that they won, and we do have to mention this. This was the first year in the AFC South division. No longer the AFC Central. You have the AFC South, and like you said, starting off 1-4. And now that one win against the Eagles, they were able, at one point they were down 24-10 before making the comeback and winning their season opener 27-24. This team ended up only having one Pro Bowler in Kevin Carter, and they drafted Albert Haynesworth with the 12th overall pick. And because I know it's a thing that's been going on the past couple of years, yes, they pandered to Tennessee Vols fans. They took the Tennessee Vol with their first pick. But
then again, they needed some meat in the middle.
Yeah, they did. A well-deserved pick.
and there was some pretty good meat from Tennessee coming out. I mean, you had John Henderson and then Albie was there, so I wasn't mad.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Now, I think it's important, Michael, to really analyze what happened in this 1-4 start. Why was this Titans team not winning? And one of the big reasons was the Titans defense in these first 5 games. They were allowing an average of just under 32 points per game. I mean, that's not the Titans defense that like you want to think about. Like, no, especially in the early 2000s.
Yeah, because that was the Jim Schwartz defense.
Like, that right there, when you're allowing 32 points a game, you're putting a lot on your offense to try and get it done in these games. And the offense, while not necessarily doing bad, they weren't in a position to compete with the defense allowing 32 points a game because they were averaging just over 21 points a game. So after the 1-4 start, Jeff Fisher had to rally the troops. He had to help them get back to like that blue collar attitude of bringing your lunch pail to work every day we got to do something. This season isn't over. We can turn this around. Everyone's saying that we're not that good, but we can do this. And after starting the season 1-4, the Titans went on to win their next 10 of 11 games. And Michael, that included going undefeated in the AFC South.
They ran through the AFC South.
They dominated the AFC South. And I think it's worth mentioning for this 2002 team, where the turnaround started for them was in week 6 against their division rivals, the Jaguars, who, just to throw a tidbit in there, they had beat in 6 of their last 8 meetings. They beat the Jaguars 23-14 while the defense really stepped up and held the Jaguars to just a net of 68 passing yards. Like, the Jaguars could not get anything going through the air. And that was the start of the Titans winning the next 10 of their 11 games and ending up winning the AFC South and getting a bye week for the playoffs to lock up the number 2 seed.
That they did.
And since we were talking about the defense in the first 5 games, and you mentioned this was a Jim Schwartz defense, how much do you think the defense turned it around after that 1-4 start?
It was a massive improvement, especially for a defense that knew that they were underperforming. They just had lost that kind of zip, and I felt it was almost kind of just transition of them to basically just shake off just what was left of like 2001, because it was just shades of that team were still there, but you're just trying to just see them move forward and progress. So something drastically changed with this team.
Yeah, I mean, that switch finally flipped. And I told you that first 5 games, they were allowing just under 32 points per game. In their last 11 games, they averaged only giving up 15 points per game. I mean, wow. This team, they turned it on, cut the average points that they were allowing by over half, and in doing so, in those last 11 weeks, became the number 1 defense in the NFL at that point.
That's a massive turnaround, especially with the point differential they had in those last 5 games. Or the first 4 games, I'm sorry.
And along with the defense stepping it up, while the offensive step up wasn't as drastic, they also jumped up and started averaging 2 more points a game, averaging over 23 points per game. So, that helps too. And the offense, they really rallied behind Steve McNair, who, especially come the month of December, was just battling injuries. He had turf toe. He had a sore back, strained ribs. But even with all of that, and with all of the practice time that Steve McNair missed, he still found a way to suit up on game days and help this team win, including going undefeated in the month of December.
And that's when you need to be winning ball games, especially at that time. New division, that's your crunch time in the month of December and January. So, with that being said, Tyler, I have to ask, setting up the playoff race, seems like the Titans got a pretty favorable setup. 2nd seed, home game. Yep. Who did they face? in the divisional round?
Well, Mike, it's funny that you asked that because the Titans would go on to face or host the Pittsburgh Steelers in the divisional round of the playoffs. And, I say it's funny you asked that because this is a team that in the Lost Ring series, we've talked about the Oilers and Titans playing in the playoffs. And,
Never fails.
It never fails. But one thing that changed up this time was things were in the Titans' favor. As even though Eddie George went out with the concussion in this game, Frank Wycheck went out and had himself a day where he had 10 catches for 123 yards and a touchdown. Steve McNair was throwing the ball all over the place, running for touchdowns, and the game went into overtime. And here's the craziest thing. That overtime finish, yes, a crazy finish.
It was on the opposite side where it happened to Pittsburgh for probably, it was almost like karma.
Yes.
From the Mike Renfro catch, I would have to say.
Because the Titans line up for the game-winning field goal, and right before the ball snapped, the Steelers take their timeout. The kick went through, and fireworks were going off. Apparently, no one told the pyro guy, hey, nope, not yet. Message didn't come through. Well, line it up to kick it again, and what happens? It was missed, but the Steelers ran in Joe Nedney and resulting in a penalty to allow the Titans to line it up one more time and get the job done. And we talked about them playing the Steelers in the playoffs. This was the Titans' first playoff win over the Steelers in 4 tries.
So it was definitely a situation. You finally get the monkey off your back. The Titans are cruising, heading to the AFC Championship for the second time in their tenure in Tennessee. Tyler, what happened?
The Titans had to travel to play the Raiders, a team they had played earlier in the year. And just like earlier in the year, things were not in the Titans' favor in this game against the Raiders. One other note I want to throw in, because we talked about that start that the Titans had. By beating the Steelers to advance to the AFC Championship game, the Titans joined the 1976 Steelers as the only teams in NFL history up until that point to start the season 1-4 and then make it to the conference title game. And like I said, the Titans, really they kept it close up until the fourth quarter. And that was when the Raiders scored 14 unanswered points to end the Titans' miracle turnaround of the season and their run. Sadly.
But Tyler, the Lost Rings is about finding those rings. And of course, we're not letting it end there.
Mm-mm.
So Tyler, you have the story. You're rewriting history. How are we changing the narrative with the AFC Championship?
The way that we are going to change the narrative here is the Raiders, they're not going to score 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. As a matter of fact, the Raiders aren't going to score at all in the fourth quarter. After the third quarter with the Titans being down 27-24. The Titans defense does what it did to the Eagles in the first game of the season and holds them scoreless in the fourth quarter, just all over Gannon and making it to where this Raiders offense cannot move the ball, while the Titans offense is able to drive the field and score a go-ahead touchdown to beat the Raiders and advance to the Super Bowl.
So they break their current offensive line coach's Bill Callahan's heart in Oakland. The Tennessee Titans punch their ticket to San Diego, where they're facing a daunting task against a rambunctious defense led by the tenacious Warren Sapp and current other Hall of Famers. So, Tyler, how are we playing this game out in Super Bowl 37?
The way we are playing this game out is really there's not going to be a whole lot of defense in this game. This game, the offenses put on a show. They go back and forth, trading blows, putting up points, touchdowns, field goals. But ultimately, in the end, Aaron McNair leads the Titans down the field and sets up the Titans for a game-winning field goal to beat the Buccaneers 34-31 and claim their fourth Lombardi trophy.
I love it. And a team that I thought they would have matched up extremely well in the Super Bowl. But the narrative has been changed. The Tennessee Titans change a drastic measure on the road at the last minute with the Oakland Raiders to punch their ticket to Qualcomm Stadium to face off against a Buccaneers team that was practically the building blocks of a Tony Dungy defense and a John Gruden offensive mind. So now, Steve McNair and Eddie George now own 2 Super Bowls, and I think easily become first ballot candidates for Canton.
I agree.
I would also have to add in that mix, Javon Curse very much also is in the discussions as well. Potentially even for a contract extension, Tyler, because let's remember, it was a contract year for him going forward.
That's true. So, like you said,
that narrative might have been changed as well.
Definitely so.
And as we have it now, Jeff Fisher has brought 2 Super Bowls to the Tennessee Titans in his tenure and with the team's tenure finally after the relocation to Nashville, which the counter gives us a grand total of 4. So 4 banners are now in the possession of the Adams family. 2 in Houston, 2 in Tennessee. The books have been rewritten. The Super Bowl 37 victory belongs to the Titans. And that's the truth. Lou, that's what the Lost Rings are here for. We're here to give you scenarios of how the Titans could have. And these teams were talented enough in order to win it all. But like every situation for some teams to come too short, it's bad breaks and bad luck. We just take that luck and reverse it. So now, that's 4 Lombardis that the Oilers/Titans own. You're welcome, Titans fans. And with that, we'll close episode 4 of the Lost Ring series. Episode 5 will continue as we roll to next Monday. So, Tyler, fantastic job.
Thank you.
Just good narration and good insight and information on your side. There you go. And I mean, it is what it is, Lou. I mean, if somebody's doing a Vikings live stream, they can do a Lost Ring series. I'm not taking it from them. That's on them. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. When we come back, we love you. We mean it. We got to close up shop, though, but it's all good. We'll take a quick 30-second breather, and when we come back, we'll get you out of here.
What's up, everybody? This is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport, and you are tuned into the Titans Upload Network.
You're watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour's on the air. Live streaming to you on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. Guys, you're phenomenal. You're great. We love you. We mean it. You come and show up and show out every Monday, and because of that, this show is grateful and a success because you do. So as always, before we go any further, if I can get the right button, but it won't do it, because bugs apparently want to jump in and mess things up. But I got it. Round of applause to you. And be happy, guys. Tomorrow, training camp starts for the Tennessee Titans. First practice on Wednesday. We have so much content coming down the pike for you. It is not even funny. I promise you. We're going to be busy. This is our busy time, and we are going to pump out some massive content. And I promise you, Upload might be playing college football 25. He's going to take a break from that, and he's going to come back and handle business because this is his baby. I promise you, he's focused. We're all focused. You got to come in and just have a fresh, clean slate. And like the 2024 season, everybody's 0-0. And it's going to be real fun to see how this plays out and this season goes. Super excited to see what happens. But enough of that. We love you guys. We love that you showed up and showed out for us tonight. But we got to kick you out and send you out into the real world, but not before we get to our favorite segment. Let's close up shop, Tyler.
Let's do it.
Give me that theme music.
Closing time.
Good night, losers.
And, of course, we talking about camp. So
Camp.
Pack the bags. Get to camp. Let's get rolling. Tomorrow, it is going to be all eyes on who shows up, who's going to be overweight, who's going to be underweight, who looks like they're ready to go. And there's going to be a lot of camp debate. So, Tyler, what is your camp hot take to get everybody just a little taste? I'm not going to feed them a whole meal because we got to get out of here. Give them a little taste. Give them a s'more.
Just a little taste. I'm going to say expect the defense to dominate this first week. And that's all I'm going to give you. Just expect the defense. Expect the defense to dominate.
So you're definitely thinking this offense is going to have some hiccups its first week.
I think it's just going to be that the defense is going to come in more firing on all cylinders.
I mean, that's a fair take. I mean, I expect the defense to come out and really just have a solid showing the first week. The offense is going to get their feet wet. And it's really going to be interesting to see how that work progressed with Will Levis and his wide receivers while they were on break. So I think that's going to be an interesting scenario as it unfolds with camp. So I think my take right now is all eyes are going to be on the offensive line. We're going to want to see how they're going to progress through everything. But I'm going to tell people just the biggest thing I can tell you right now, especially when camp rolls around, don't put too much stock into the practices. When they start having joint practices, that's when things start mattering. Those are basically game scenarios. When teams start working things out, that's competition. When you're going one-on-one teammates, I mean, you're going to work regardless. But when you're up against teams in other uniforms, oh, baby, that's when you get hungry. So practice is practice. It's July. Don't get concerned about a lot of stuff. That's why we go to camp. to work everything out in order to be playing in February. Can this team do it? Anything's possible in the NFL. It is a league of parity. So don't just give up on this team just yet. I promise you, regardless, we're all coming in 0-0. Expectations are going to be high. We'll see what happens. That being said, let's go and close out with our favorite game. Bet you didn't know as we played before we closed up shop. So, Tyler, you had last question. I'll go first this time. And my question to you is, since we are camp related, best camp food to make on an open fire.
Ooh. And this is any food, right?
Any food
Dessert.
on an open fire. Dessert, meat, you can put a cabbage on a stick. I don't care. if that's your cup of tea, you go for it, baby.
Look, instantly when you ask me, I'm camping, I have the fire in front of me. What am I doing? I'm going with s'mores. I mean, you mentioned the s'mores earlier. I'm going with s'mores. I'm a sweets guy. I do. So yeah, I got to rock with them.
That's fine. You can't go wrong with s'mores. I mean, best campfire food, and honestly, my favorite Pop-Tart. So,
now, Michael, my question to you, great question from you, by the way. Mine to you, is there anything that you would wait in a line for a week to do, see, or get?
I mean, there's a lot of things I'd wait in line for to probably do, see, or get.
For a whole week.
For a whole week?
Yep.
You know what? I'll throw out a few things. Because I can't just name one. That wouldn't be fair. So I'll throw out a few things. Lou Man brought up a good one, and I'll just bring that up to Cash. I mean, if they're giving it away, Lou, I'm down. I'll go back and stand in line again after I go. So
yeah.
Tennessee Titans Super Bowl winning merchandise I would wait in line for.
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings in theaters I would wait in line for. Fresh beer on a keg I would definitely wait in line for. And fresh off the grill barbecue. You can't go. But I mean, prime barbecue. We're talking really good stuff. Just right off the grill. It's breathed. They've cut it. It's good to go.
Right.
And good point by XT Gamer. Good seeing you too, man, by the way. Thanks for joining the show. When is Upload going to stream in NCAA 25? That is a great question. Upload has started a Titan Upload gaming channel exclusively for that. So you can find it on Titan Upload Gaming. Check it out on YouTube. He's already dropped a video about which team he selected, and it is North Texas, the Fighting Mean Green. So anybody that's not familiar with the Fighting Mean Green, that is where Mean Joe Green went to school. So hopefully Upload is the next big thing for North Texas. So enjoy it and check it out. The channel's going to be awesome. But of course, guys, thank you for joining us on our channel as we come and give you NFL insight. And I promise you guys, you are the reason we continue to do this. And thanks, Lou. I appreciate that. I promise you guys, one day we'll be at one of these live games. Tyler's definitely going to be at the games. He's season tickets. So if you see him, shout out at him, hang out, get a picture. It's all good. I'll get to one of these games one of these days. We'll see. But
that's right.
Tyler's got a lot on his plate, by the way. So eventually he'll get out to one of these games.
Yes.
I promise you, this dude's going to be busy in the upcoming weeks. So eventually we'll try and see if we can get him out there. But guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Round of applause once again for you guys for making the show a riveting success on the Titan Upload Network. Starts again tomorrow. There's going to be so much news and breaking news as we get the Titans in and start practices on Wednesday. So we at the Titan Upload Network are going to have live shows for you. Rossi's probably going to go live tomorrow night. Check that out as well. Upload will go live as well at some point. We are going to keep giving you great live content on this channel. So make sure before you get out of here, subscribe, like, and ring the bell for more content as we continue to roll through the off season. And when the regular season rolls around, oh baby, that's where the fun begins. And I am excited for that, especially with the AFC Round South table that's going to start next month. Rossi and I are going to be splitting hosting duties every once in a while. So going to love getting back in with those guys. That's a fun time. The Round Sports table is really going to be having an interesting year and a lot coming on. And they've got merch dropping. So check out their channel. Check out the merch. Really good stuff. We'll have a link up for that really soon. And of course, the BS Report is our baby, not affiliated with the Titan Upload Network. So if you're looking for a raw, uncut podcast, Tyler and I do that every Saturday. We'll be back for the next Saturday because, we just had a lot going on and there's not a lot to talk about. But that's not the case anymore. So check out the old episodes anyway. And of course, the Lost Ring series will continue. We have 2 episodes left, guys. So don't miss them. We will be covering the 2008 Tennessee Titans, a team that should have locked down Super Bowl 43, but we will change the narrative on that as well. And of course, anybody that hasn't joined the Section 145 Club, join that. You get perks. And of course, with great power comes great responsibility. You get some pretty good inside stuff. So it's good to have a little exclusivity, especially when you're trying to get some insight. So join there. We got some cool stuff to give you as well. Section 145 Club. Join it if you haven't. It's pretty cool. So that'll do it for us, guys. Great show tonight. Great job, Tyler, for taking care of the 2002 Titans. You have given them a reason to be successful and finally have a cap on a season that should have ended in the right way. So, guys, we'll be back next Monday. We'll be dropping news throughout the week with a lot of training camp insight for you. So believe me, Rossi Upload, they're going to get all the work in there for you as well. We'll be back next Monday to talk about camp stuff as well, along with potentially maybe an interesting Netflix series that drops about, unfortunately, circumstance of Steve McNair. We'll try and touch on that as well. But in the meantime, everybody have a great night. Thank you for joining us on the Power Hour. For Tyler Staggs, I'm Michael Bishop. And as we always say, take care and tighten up.
Tighten up.
You're watching the Titan Upload Network.